punched a hole in the wall of the fucking shuffleboard. Why? I mean, it's fucking shuffleboard. It's not that important. So it's right. I mean, you're familiar with up there. Like it's right where that the artwork for the Orioles banner is painted into the wall. Someone punched two holes. No, they're like nice sized dents. It's not actually like like the drywall is not completely cracked.
Huh.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Someone just needs to own it. I mean, if you did it, you did it, and just pay for it and get it over with.
Yeah, I think whatever. It's not like we haven't made mistakes in our lives. Come on.
Okay, right now. Right now.
That sucks that you would. Why would they do it right over the painting? It's gonna be such a pain in the ass.
Oh, fuck it. That's such a pain in the ass.
So this Ben Johnson dude is asking for so much money, nobody wants to freaking.
He's got the fucking luxury to be able to do that shit.
I know.
Dell swears that we're going to keep our defensive coordinator. He's like, I'm willing to bet $5 on it right now.
Well, $5 is high stakes.
What trash you have here, Chris? I got married. Yeah. We can get another guest in a couple weeks.
Oh, what's up, buddy?
Mr. Merrick here. I have not looked at the notes yet today. Kirsten,
I just have
taking care of the lady. All right. Well, I'm sure we can figure something out. Kirsten thinks she got food poisoning from Speakeasy.
Oh no!
Throwing up everywhere. It's awesome.
How's the puppy?
He's good. It was just standard shit, like standard checkup stuff. But the owner pushed the appointment up a day early because he had to get out of town for something, like some family stuff. The owner of the veterinary clinic owner, his name's Kip. So they asked not to bring him in yesterday. It's like, that's fine. And the dog's still a douche, though. He's still a fucking asshole. How's the audio? I know I can't wait to get the microphone, but is there any problems with the audio?
It goes like down, but you can hear it. Usually it used to cut out like every now and then. Now it's just like I can hear you still, but it's like less clear, at least so far. But it's not all the time. It's just like every now and then. I don't know if it's the same for you, bro.
Yeah, I'm at the library here. They have like a couple recording studios, so I was going to try one out.
Oh yeah.
Grows his hair out and all of a sudden he's a big
dick.
Yep.
Yeah, basically I copy and pasted our free agents by position. I just basically wrote just some small thoughts. I didn't on the Ravens game and some small thoughts in the NFC game, but yeah, other than that, we're basically going to be talking mostly about the Ravens, I would imagine. So,
yeah,
kind of what I got down.
Looks like we're all wearing black for the Ravens funeral.
I'm wearing orange. I put my purple away.
Yeah, I got the Birdland shirt underneath too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pitches and catches 14 days.
Where's Mr. Foy?
Somebody want to text him?
Oh, I got it.
Don't get his fucking ass on this goddamn podcast, please. Folks just texting me big dogging us.
Yeah, I didn't come up with a trivia question. I don't know if that's going to be your thing, Rogers, or are we all supposed to do one? Because I can come up with them real quick.
I mean, I just think we rotate it on a weekly basis. Like 1 week you do it, 1 week I do it, 1 week Brooks does it.
That's cool.
It's something fun, different segment.
Something different. Yeah.
Deli's on board for coming on next week. If you guys are cool with that. He's going to talk, I think he wants to talk more bourbon, actually.
I'm cool with that. I figured next week we would talk about the Super Bowl. This week we would just kind of talk about recapping the conference games. If that's cool with you guys, we can do a little Super Bowl preview if you want to, but I just feel like we're not going to have as much sports to talk about next week because there's not really much going on.
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of. I mean, we might need to do a couple episodes, honestly. And I know Chuck Haley said he would come on, one of my buddies, as well.
Doctors.
Doctor.
Look at this guy.
What's up?
Look like a trucker with that headset.
Breaker. Sorry, I was in the middle of something and just completely lost track of time.
You're good.
Adley Clutchman. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Baseball season now.
All right, I got a trivia question for when that time comes up.
Nice. How's the club?
Merrick's sitting here in front of me doing work on his Dell. There's a couple people downstairs. Drew's cleaning up stuff from Super Bowl Sunday.
That's nice.
Dude, it's a
Today.
Dell.
Yeah.
How was the rest of your Sunday?
Immediately when I got to, I mean, you saw me at Pig and Chaucer. It was fine. Just very hectic. Very, very, very hectic.
Yeah, it was a good time, but it was wild.
That was a clutch move, putting the car over there the day prior.
Oh yeah. Daddy's been around the block a time or two.
Pro move.
I love in the rundown. It says Baltimore Ravens. We stink.
Yeah. I couldn't write anything. I was gonna look up stats like what I normally do, and I was just like, what do we need to talk about stats for? We just look like shit.
We're all very, very angry.
Angry if I was a Lions fan. They shit themselves.
I
Yeah,
stopped watching
wild.
it. I stopped watching at halftime and went to bed. And woke up the
I
next day.
didn't-
I'm like, I guess I need to figure out what happened.
I didn't watch much of it. I was so angry. I just didn't want to watch football anymore. I had to watch the highlights the last couple of days.
For this week, I was running around so much with work. I didn't get really a chance to, dissect the games, and I don't want to fucking rewatch the Ravens Chiefs game whatsoever.
Either. Yeah.
What are you guys gonna do for the Super Bowl?
The
I don't
game sells.
know.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, bro.
I got to work, so know where I'll be. Normally, PC's parents throw a party, and my parents go to. So
But he's out of town, isn't he?
I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him in about a week.
Gotcha. I thought he had said he was going to be out of town, but his family was probably still having a party.
Doing the party just for the kids. We're just, cannon fodder.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, blow my nose.
I think we're gonna have to spend at least 10 minutes on Laquan Treadwell and Nelson Aguilar.
They deserve their own segment.
Yeah. Oh man. Our
Boy,
running back free agent list is like so ridiculous.
Boy, I broke the news about Hillary's little mishap to the boys the other day on the podcast.
Little. Good
Yeah.
times.
And then Brooks, Dusty, I almost unintentionally called Hillary and Sean out to Foy's to Sean's dad. I brought up the ring, and Foy just looks at me and goes,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, luckily my dad and my sister are oblivious and weren't paying attention. But Hillary was like, it's going to get replaced. I don't need your mom and sisters judging me. I'm like, all right, I won't fucking tell them.
Hey, just make sure they don't watch this podcast. I'm sure they won't. But
Doubtful.
highly doubtful.
all
right.
let's fire it up.
Let's kick it off. Another episode of the Gary Williams Stole Our Lawn Furniture podcast. I'm gonna let Dustin start it off. We're gonna start off with the NFC. A lot of the NFC title game since I'm sure we're all gonna be bitching a lot about the Ravens. So Dustin, I'll let you take over with what you saw in the NFC
Yeah,
title game.
yeah. Basically, Lions dominated the first half. I think anybody could have seen that. They had a couple opportunities at the end of the first half, and I think later in the game to kick field goals. They decided to go for it, and they lost by 3 points, and they had 6 points sitting on the board. And I think a lot of people are going to be questioning them, but really that's been their identity all year. They've been going for it every situation, put your foot on their throat kind of thing. And guess what? It just they picked the wrong day to not execute when they needed to. Brian, what did you say?
Unfortunately, I didn't really get a chance to pay attention to the full game, but it's their MO. It's exactly who they were. They lived and died by the sword. And hey, it is what it is. And it doesn't suck, yes. And I have a question for you guys after, Sean and Brooks give their opinions about analytics.
Dude, how do you take a 17-point lead into halftime and get down by 10 points in the second half? Like that's ridiculous. If anybody's, I mean, it shouldn't have came to the situation where Dan Campbell's what he wants to do with the ball. I mean, he's been this aggressive all year. It shouldn't even have got to that point to where this should be even being questioned. So I know I love Brock Purdy and everything like that. I mean, you got to take some air out of the ball.
Yep. Sean, what do you like?
We got to get our special guest, Sean Foy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they just kind of collapsed in the second half. I didn't hate the going for it on fourth down as much as everyone else seems to have. I mean, I probably would have kicked the first one early in the second half to just make it a 17-point game. But I mean, at the end of the day, they went for it on fourth down, and Josh Reynolds was wide open, and he dropped the ball. Like,
yeah,
it is what it is. The second one I can kind of understand more because it was going to be like a 48, 50, 49-yard field goal, which sounds like a chip shot when you are a good kicker, but Michael Badgley kind of sucks, and his career numbers at like 48 plus yards is literally like 40%. So I get it. And like I said, I mean, that's just, I think people blame it on analytics, but at the end of the day, like all of the not excuses, but the reasoning Campbell gave, like he didn't mention analytics once. He's just like, look, we were rolling. We're trying to and then we were kind of our backs against the wall. We're trying to catch up and stay ahead of them. And just, it's what they've been doing the whole year. It's worked for 90% of the year, and it just didn't this time. I mean, Gibbs fumbling is really like what turned the game. They went from being up 17 to it being tied in like 6 minutes. So
Yeah,
they're gonna get killed. I mean, but it is what it is. I did think it was, I don't know, Campbell's a maniac, but like I liked in his press conference that he said something along the lines of like, I told the guys like we might never get back here. Like this might be our only shot. Like he hopes they will and he believes they'll be back, but like it's just so hard to make it to the championship game. It's not easy. I mean, shit, Lamar's been incredible for like 6 years and they made it once. It's just really hard to get there. So it's like heartbreaking to get to blow it, especially for them being up 17 points. But Niners were good. They kind of took it back from them, and McCaffrey's a beast, but it was definitely disappointing.
I mean, I love Dan Campbell's honesty.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, he's the man.
And listening to his press conference, he'll never come out and say this, but it almost seemed like he knew they couldn't stop the 49ers. Like their defense was taxed.
yeah.
And so that's why he kept going for it.
Yeah.
And that man sounded defeated. Like he sounded really sad.
Yeah, and even when they kicked the one when I say like I would have kicked the earlier one to make it a 17-point game, I would have, but I can also get like, hey, if we score a touchdown here and go up 21, this game's pretty much cooked. So like it's right there. It's 2 yards. Like they're an awesome offense. 2 yards should be, probably like a 70% chance for them, but just didn't work.
And how often does it come down to one crazy play like Ayuk? The ball bounces off a defender's head and goes into Ayuk's hands, and it's like if the defender catches the ball, the game's over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's the Niners scoring, and it's crazy. It's just
Yeah. Yeah, it was
I
wild.
want to see the numbers, like the Nielsen rating numbers. How many Detroit fans won't watch the Super Bowl now because they lost in the NFC Championship game?
Yeah, Baltimore too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think most of us will, but I mean,
Well, that's just because you're a huge Swiftie.
true. Not as big, not as big as Dusty, but
Yeah, I'm definitely the biggest Swiftie in this group, but I hope Travis Kelsey falls down a well and nobody finds him before the game starts next Sunday.
yeah. I mean, I guess we know what Detroit's gonna make a priority this offseason. Fucking defense.
Yeah,
I mean, defense and a kicker. I mean, they're
100%.
what Badgley joined them 8 weeks ago. He wasn't even there all year, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, Badgley was on this in Washington in training camp, like competing for their spot, and their kicker's not any good, and he couldn't beat him out. He's one of those guys who's going to bounce around to 10 teams. Like, he's fine, probably in a pinch, but probably
Yeah.
not someone you want lining up for 50-yarder. But I mean, if it was 4th and 8, they would have done it and not even thought about it. But
Yeah,
when it's only a few yards, I get it.
Probably going to be in the market for linemen because it seems like I might mispronounce his last name. Ragnow.
hmm
Yeah,
Sounds like he might be hanging him up. I was reading an article today about how he has sustained so many injuries that he's starting to contemplate retirement. And they always say, if you're already thinking about retirement, you're retired.
yeah. I
yeah.
think they might have another guy that's a pending free agent too. I don't remember the name, but
Yeah,
Okay.
Ragnow had a pretty severe injury a couple years ago too that he came back from. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if anything, he's got one more year. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's done. If so, great career.
Yep.
Um,
Looks
did
like
you
it
know?
just came
Did
out
you?
that Ben Johnson is going to be remaining their offensive coordinator after a lot of speculation that he was going to be getting a head coaching job. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's ballsy. Apparently, he also so Skins are flying there right now. So he texted them as they were on the plane to fly out and interview him. Now they're also interviewing Aaron Glenn, so they were going to go anyways. But there's a lot of speculation. This is all I've been looking at on Twitter for the last 20 minutes because the DC media is just exploding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was speculation for a while that he wanted like 15, 20 mil a year. So some people are saying like, the money spooked some teams, and there's just a lot of speculation on the DC side that maybe he realized they might be going in a different direction, and he just kind of did the old "I'm gonna quit so you can't fire me" bit. Like, I'm gonna go back to Detroit and just say I want to win a Super Bowl, when in reality this isn't gonna work out, and that doesn't want to be. He wants to get ahead of it before they do. But it's pretty ball. I mean, it's awesome for the Detroit. He's an awesome play caller. I just think it's ballsy, like back-to-back years, to remove yourself. I mean, the Panthers tried to hire him last year and he said no, which I get. Tepper's a maniac, but it's still
Yeah.
like you're only a young hotshot coordinator for so long.
Like when it's hot, because what if they fucking suck next year and then all of a sudden
Mhm.
he's not getting jobs? See Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
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 What if Jared Goff gets hurt at the beginning of the year and then they have a backup quarterback all year and then everybody forgets about him?
Right.
You know?
I mean, I would
Yeah.
think he'd still be well thought of, but you're not gonna. You don't like. You're never gonna be hotter than you are now.
Yeah, I agree. I the only thing I can see him banking on is that he actually does want to come back to the Lions, and then he's probably sitting there thinking, okay, I got Dallas and possibly Pittsburgh next year
Yeah,
opening up.
maybe Philly. Like, who knows?
Maybe Philly, yeah, just
Buffalo.
Yeah,
Eh,
I mean, going back to
yeah.
Detroit is not like it's a pretty good consolation prize. Like, you're still gonna be awesome.
They have a
You're
good
gonna be a
team.
god there. I'm sure he's making. He's probably gonna get a raise. It's not
Yeah.
a bad thing. It's just ballsy.
Yeah, he's betting on himself at that point. But I mean,
If I'm Nick Sirianni, I'm renting. I am not buying homes in Philadelphia right now.
who
Yeah.
they just hired an OC. Why am I blanking on who it is?
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah. They hired Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio as their OC in DC. Fangio, I like. He's had success in the past. Kellen Moore, Not a huge fan of.
I mean, Fangio was good in Miami in terms of like their their ranking for their defense, but it sounded like him in the DB room just fucking hated each other.
Yeah, but Miami's defense just got completely decimated by injuries at the end of the year, and he kind of it seems like he took the brunt of that blame. But
Well,
Yeah, and I saw
their D was still good.
I saw somewhere that Gannon, the Cardinals head coach, who was a defense coordinator for the Eagles last year, when he left, so he got hired like the day after the Super Bowl, that he let them know like kind of late that he was going to leave, and they wanted to hire Fangio last year, but since they found out so late, Fangio had to commit to Miami like earlier.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why McDaniel too was probably like cool with Fangio leaving. I think they knew he wanted to be there. Apparently his family's in that area too. But yeah.
Yeah.
And fuck them massively to the point that there was tampering and they had to switch third round picks. in
Yeah.
that last
Oh
week's
yeah, there
draft.
was. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah, it's weird. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, Ben Johnson pulling his name out is definitely good for Mike McDonald. I mean, I think he had a good chance of getting one of the jobs, but now I feel like it's a lock he's going to get one of those. I mean, maybe not. Maybe Vrabel gets in there, or I don't know, but pretty wild.
I mean, we still got Seattle open, and
Yeah, those are the two, Washington, Seattle.
Washington.
I mean, you got as a Washington fan, Foy, who do you want? Who would be your pick of the litter right now?
I prefer going offensive, so like I liked Ben Johnson. He was really the only offensive guy I'm like in love with, because there's not that many offensive guys like in the market. Most of them are defensive. Like if they went defensive, I would love Mike McDonald. Like I'm over like defensive retreads. Like I'm sure Dan Quinn's a good coach. I don't want to deal with that. Like I'd rather go young and try to find your guy that can be there for 10 plus years.
What are your thoughts on Bieniemy?
I don't love Bieniemy. I thought he was underwhelming. Apparently, a lot of players hate him. Like,
Yeah, that
he
was the
just
story at
rubs
the
a
beginning of
lot
the
of
year.
people. Yeah, and a couple of their veterans, like Logan Thomas and Charles Leno, who's their left tackle, who's not very good, but he's been around forever. Kind of like in a politically correct way, trashed him on like their way out. Just kind of with some backhanded compliments, which isn't a good look. But like two veterans who've been around forever and have been on a million different teams, like when they said it, it was kind of like, ooh, all right, maybe guys who normally don't speak up, if he's rubbing them the wrong way. I mean, he probably deserves a spot at some point. He's been passed over so many times and has done well, but I don't know. I'm maybe it's just the Ron Rivera stench. I just want like someone else completely new, even if it's
Fresh
even if
message.
it's like Bobby Slowick, who probably is a year or two away from being ready, but I'd rather, give him a shot. But who knows? I mean, I've been a fan for them forever, and they've hired, the guy coming out of retirement who everyone thought was great, like Mike Shanahan. They've hired the young hot shot. Like they've hired every type of coach, and it's never worked. Now, obviously, it was because of Snyder. So like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, you know what? I don't have anyone I need. Like, I love the guy they hired as a GM, and then if the quarterback they drafted two sucks, it doesn't matter. So I'm interested to see what they do. I like the idea of McDonald, but who knows? It's going to be very interesting. And like for a while, everyone here thought Ben Johnson was kind of a shoe-in. So like him throwing this curveball, I'm sure they're definitely like,
Yeah,
holy
and I
shit,
mean,
but
this still doesn't mean he's not going anywhere, right? I mean, he's saying that he's staying, but I mean, if Washington comes and offers 20 million,
yeah,
I mean, he might just be like, change my mind.
yeah. See you, Dan. Yeah, I
Because
don't know. It'll be interesting.
I think Slowick's the only offensive name I've still heard. What about
Right.
Pete Carroll? Well, Pete Carroll's a defensive guy, actually. When
Yeah,
he was back in the day.
I wouldn't hate Pete Carroll, but I don't know. He's so old. Not that he's like Belichick. He's probably like a 3 or 4 year guy. Like, and
He's
then
on a
you're going to
time
be doing
clock.
this again. Like, I could see like obviously they didn't fire them, but like if the Cowboys fired McCarthy, like going for like a Belichick or a Pete Carroll, who pretty much already has the team ready, and you just kind of need some leadership and to get him over the hump. Like the Skins are probably going to be bad for another year or two. They probably need to bring in someone young that they can build with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So
the only,
far-fetched.
I guess the. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
It's so far fetched, but it just popped in here. Like, what about like a Lincoln Riley from USC? I know it's not going to happen, but that would be a very. I mean, I didn't see fucking Lincoln Riley going to USC, either
Right.
in Oklahoma. But I mean, if he ever wanted to jump into the NFL box, he could.
I
Or
think
what's
that a
his
lot
name
of
from the
people
Cardinals?
thought that a couple of
Kingsbury.
years ago. Yeah. When he first went to USC and he was crushing it at Oklahoma, I think a lot of people expected like the natural progression is to go to the NFL. But I don't know. I think he's like, I think a lot of people don't like him. I think he like burned a lot of bridges when he left Oklahoma, but I'd be interested. Shit. I mean, if you're a good offensive mind, hell, I was fired up for Steve Spurrier 20 years ago, but
Yes.
the old ball coach.
Spurrier, Shanahan,
the old ball
Gibbs.
coach.
Spurrier had the best end of season press conference ever after his second year, and he resigned like 2 days later, and no one knew he was going to resign. But they went 5-11, and he just opened up. You know, everyone does like their like end of year press conference like the day after the season ends, and he just goes, "Well, 5-11, not very good." So like all these DC radio shows just have that audio clip, and they play it all the time. It's hilarious.
I mean, now, like, I mean, I wouldn't be against if I were you, even Cliff Kingsbury, man. Like, I don't hate him.
He's good looking.
He's great looking, but he's not a very good football coach.
I think Kingsbury needs to get in as an OC somewhere and kind of build his way up. He's weird because like people loved him, but his record in college wasn't even very good. Like Texas Tech fired him, and he had Mahomes and he had Baker for a year and made Baker transfer. Like it's just he looks. I remember, I'll never forget one of the DC radio guys who I love when Kingsbury got hired, because people didn't really understand where the Cardinals were hiring because he had just been fired from Texas Tech, and one of the guys said, "Let's be honest, if he looked like Andy Reid, no one would be hiring him." Like, but he's had that like young hotshot McVay type like, you know, profile, and people thought he'd be great, and apparently he was kind of a mess. But who knows?
Well, his first year or two at the Cardinals were decent, right? And then he lost the locker room, it seemed like.
Yeah, I think he's just young and probably not great at commanding the room. I don't know. There's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know, but I'm sure someone will give another shot at some point.
We weren't supposed to be hitting up Redskins stuff right now, or I'm sorry, Commander stuff right now, but
racist.
Can you think back to Jay Gruden's staff? That was loaded. You had Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. I think Mike McDonald was on that.
So
Mike
they had
McDaniel, yeah.
I'll run it. So it started off with Shanahan. So it was Mike Shanahan was the head coach, and they had Kyle Shanahan was offensive coordinator. Sean McVay was like tight ends coach at one point. Matt LaFleur was their quarterbacks coach. Mike McDaniel was the receivers coach, and Bobby Slowick was their linebackers coach. Now, there's a little bit of context in the sense that like Slowick was pretty much like a tape labeler. Like I think he was like 25. Like no one was making him a head coach, and LaFleur and McDaniel were really young too. But everyone knew, like even as a Skins fan, when Gruden came, everyone got fired, and Gruden came and kept McVay, promoted him, and McVay was like 29, and he was their offense coordinator, and everyone knew he was going to be a stud. I think people were hoping when he went and interviewed with the Rams, like he probably won't get another job for a year because he was still so young. And Gruden had just had like back-to-back winning years, which they hadn't had in like 25 years. They still weren't very good. They were like 9-7, but they weren't going to be like, they probably weren't going to fire Gruden. And then McVay got hired probably earlier than they thought.
RG3's rookie of the year.
Yeah, but it's wild looking back. And Raheem Morris is on that staff too. He was like their DB's coach. So many head coaches. It's insane.
Yeah, that was a surprise one. Kind of came out of nowhere for me for Tennessee.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I kept hearing that people loved him and wanted to give him another shot because apparently he was like 31 when he was the head coach in Tampa so long ago. But I
Morris
thought,
went to Atlanta, right?
yeah, he went to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Tennessee hired
The Bengals
Sorry,
offense
yeah.
coordinator,
yeah. But yeah,
Callahan.
I thought Belichick was going to go to Atlanta, so that kind of came out of left field.
Dan Callahan? Is that Dan
His
Callahan?
name's Brian. Actually,
Brian
his dad was
Callahan?
a head coach, like
Yeah,
an interim head coach
Bi-
a while
Bill
ago.
Bill Callahan's his dad, who's like the offensive line
Yeah.
coach. He was a skin
Yeah.
when they fired Gruden. He was their interim, and he's been on a bunch of different teams.
Bill Callahan took over for John Gruden and the Raiders and went to the Super Bowl. And
Yeah,
that's
I
when
remember that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
When Rich Gannon was co-MVP with was it McNair or something?
I think it was. Nice pull.
Yeah, at some point we're gonna have to.
Their
Sorry, go
center
ahead,
went missing the night before the Super Bowl. Their center just disappeared.
Oh yeah, he went
Barrett
on like
Robbins.
he went on like a coke bender, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and Ravens lose their player personnel guy to the Chargers. I mean, I think we all
Yeah.
saw that coming, but that was a huge rumor for a
Yeah.
while that he was going somewhere. And of course, everybody, I mean, the hardballs just trade back and forth. So
Yeah, at some point we got to start talking about the Ravens game. What did you guys think?
I will be very clear and succinct. Why the fuck do we only run the ball 6 or 7 times? That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
looked like we panicked. Looked like we panicked. We got down by a score, and then it was just panic from there on out. That's what it looked like to me as a fan.
It was 3-and-out, and then Mahomes and Kelsey just ran down the field on us in 7 minutes and just took the complete air out of the crowd. And we just have not played from behind in forever. That was the first time we went down by 10 points since 2021. It's 2024. That was the first time we played from 10 points back in 3 years. And we just didn't know what to do. We just threw our offensive game plan out the window and just I think that I saw a stat. We threw the ball on 79% of first and second downs. Like what that we were the best running team in the league the last 5 years. They have the 28th ranked rush defense. What was the plan?
That's when Harbaugh needs to like literally get on the headset and say, "Run the fucking ball." Like I stop, run the ball. I don't care what you call, run the ball.
Yeah.
Jerry Sneed, who should be a fucking all pro, he's not already.
And their line just dominated both lines. Both of their lines dominated our front line, our lines.
Well,
from the beginning.
Chris
Our
Jones
D-line
was a beast.
Yeah, Chris Jones killed us, but our D-line couldn't get to the quarterback because Mahomes was 2-3 seconds tops. Like it just felt like unless it was third and long, he was just quick screen, quick slant, quick out for Kelsey. You know what I mean? Like he's so good, and he just dissected us in the first half. And in the second half, our defense stepped up, and we kind of figured it out a little bit better. But the offense just never did. They just never stepped up.
It looked like when we lost our game plan and our identity, then our fucking tempers, and we lost our attitude. We started just headbutting people, doing stupid shit. We just lost complete composure.
They got frustrated.
Yeah, it almost looked like after those. I mean, obviously the Ravens have kind of played from ahead and like kind of initiated tempo and pace all year, and then
besides the Miami game, that's it.
And then when they came out and scored on those first 2 drives and kind of looked unstoppable, it kind of punched them in the mouth a little bit and probably panicked a little more than they needed to. I mean, at the most they were down was 10 points, so they didn't need to get away from the run. Now, part of it is, I mean, shit, if Snead doesn't punch out that ball, they might win. Like he's scoring there. It's a 3-point game with 10 minutes left, 8 minutes. I mean, you never know, but it's just they're better than the Chiefs at like most spots. Mahomes is just a freak. Like just doesn't panic. Like they're so and they're like
game planned us.
Andy Reid's is a beast. Like Kelsey looks like it's 2000. He played like it was 2012. Like it just. I mean, that first touchdown pass, Hamilton couldn't cover him better.
That was just an incredible catch.
Just throws it back shoulder, like not even like a fade. Yeah, just like a perfect. Just is what it is.
Yeah, it was like an old It was like an Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams back shoulder. It just like you can't defend that. You
Yeah.
can't defend that play.
Like he
Yeah.
defended
two
it
bi-
as well as he could have.
The two
Right.
biggest plays of the game went the Chiefs' way. I mean, the
Yep.
punch out by Snead and then the touchdown catch by Kelsey with Hamilton just draped all over him.
Yeah.
They just went the Chiefs' way, and and like we said earlier about the other game, it comes down to one or two plays, and that's what makes a difference.
And not only, I mean, like I said, our offense panicked more than our defense. I mean, our defense gave up 17 points. We should win that game. Like
Yep.
I don't care. Like, I mean, we gave up 2 touchdowns and a field goal. That's great defense, even though we didn't look at that great in the first half, but they came back, didn't panic. Then the offense just panicked the rest of the freaking game, it seemed like.
Yeah. And I really don't think Lamar had that bad of a game. He made 2 really, really bad throws. He threw one over the middle that should have gotten picked off. It got dropped.
Yeah.
And he threw
That
that ball
triple
into triple
coverage.
coverage that, maybe it could have been called a PI, but you can't
don't
make
think
that
so.
throw. And if you're going to make that throw, you got to throw it out of the end zone through the freaking uprights because like you just can't make that throw.
It almost seemed like he was hesitant to run too. Like I feel like there were like 3 or 4 plays where I get it. He wants to stay in the pocket and keep his eyes downfield and make a play, but I'm like, shit, dude, just there's space. Just get out of there.
That's not your game. Yeah, that's not your game. Your game is extending the play and picking up those 5 or 6 yards when you don't have anything down the field. Just the whole offense didn't play their game.
Saw a stat today that said Lamar Jackson rushed for only 4 more yards than Brock Purdy did in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's not good.
He was also our second leading receiver for most of the game.
That play was so sick.
That was awesome. It sucks that it's not going to go down in the NFL history books because we lost the game. But that's one of those plays that if we come back and win that game, people are going to be talking about for years and years.
Could you imagine if he scored on that? Like
it was a shoelace tackle away because he
would have been rolling.
Yeah,
I will say when we were at the Chaucer when he threw that touchdown to Flowers, I thought the place was going to collapse. Like because everyone was like kind of like tightening up because the Chiefs had just gone down the field, and then he makes that like ridiculous play and just throws a dime 40 yards. It was just it was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it really literally felt like a team that, I mean, they've been there the last 4 or 5, 6 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been there, done that. They didn't panic. We did. We look like a team that hadn't been there in a long time. I mean,
I was listening to Sports Junkies on Monday, and they had Mike Jones, who's a writer for The Athletic, on, and he literally said that. He goes, he was covering the game, and he was like, it was apparent like which team had played on this stage 5 times and which team hadn't, which I think might be oversimplifying it a little bit, but yeah, I mean, they don't panic. Like, I think even the stupid like pregame stuff where Kelsey was like tossing Tucker's stuff, like it just seemed like they were. It just seemed like they were like, look, everyone's been hyping up the Ravens for good reason for the last 3 months. Like, you got to go through us. We've been down this road before. It was just, and then they looked awesome. Like those first 2 drives, I was like, holy shit, like they're not messing around. And then I figured the Ravens would just kind of turn it on, and I thought that Flowers touchdown was just going to kind of kickstart, a shootout, and then it really, their defense, manned up and was awesome in the second half, but they could just never get it going offensively. And yeah, I don't understand why they didn't run more. Like, I get you want to be creative and throw the ball a lot, but like, it's not like they're like the 2002 Rams or whatever that team was. Like, outside of Flowers, like those receivers are pretty pedestrian. Obviously, the tight ends are good, but yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense.
They didn't get involved either.
Right.
We had nobody involved on offense
if
besides Flowers. It was it.
I mean, I gotta give their DBs credit. I mean, they were all over us the whole game.
Snead's awesome. McDuffie's awesome. Spagnola's been around forever. Like, yeah, they just, I mean, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, they get paid too, but it's just, it was surprising. I mean, like if you would have told me the Chiefs won and it was 32-29 and, and it's a shootout that goes back and forth, I'm like, all right, it happens. Mahomes is a freak. But the fact that like, their offense was good in the first half and then just kind of held on was surprising.
not that it already wasn't happening, it's just going to magnify it. No matter what the fuck the Ravens do next year during the regular season, it's consistently going to be. It's consistently going to be show me in the playoffs. No one will be satisfied until we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, we could go 17-0, and they would be like, well, they're going to lose in the second round of the playoffs. That's just it stinks. It feels to me like
enjoy the journey.
This was probably the best defense Mahomes has ever had, but the worst offense Mahomes has ever had. And if there was ever a year to kind of knock them off and take it, it felt like this year. And Burrow's coming back, Allen's coming back, Herbert's coming back. The AFC is only getting better. It's really hurts a lot.
Harbaugh's in at the Chargers. So
things just change from year to year. I mean,
coming back.
The Eagles looked like they were going to be a 13-win team for the next 5-6 years, and they collapsed like 1 year after being in the Super Bowl. You just never know.
Yeah, I mean, I fully, I don't know. I think the Chiefs are gettable. We should have got them.
Yeah,
but we just didn't game plan.
If I'm the Niners, McCaffrey's getting 40 touches in 2 weeks. I don't care what.
Oh yeah.
I don't care what the score is. McCaffrey is getting the ball a million times.
Well, if there's one guy who's not gonna overthink it and avoid running, it's Shanahan. That's like what he does.
He's not gonna make that same mistake as he did in Atlanta. I can't imagine he would make the same mistake again. But also, I mean, run behind Trent Williams. That dude is a monster.
Yeah.
Hey, Dusty, did I know we talked last week about some betting props and stuff. Did Ayuk hit the number that you were talking about?
His over-under was 73.5, and he ended up with 68 or 69 yards. So, no, he did not.
McCaffrey hit it, though.
McCaffrey did hit. McCaffrey hit.
Yeah, you got that one. His total yards, right? 123 or 125?
Yeah, I think it was 123.5, and he had 130 total. He had 90 on the ground and like 40 more in the air. Something like that.
Yep.
Anybody have any props they like in the Super Bowl, or is it still too early?
I haven't really looked.
I haven't looked either.
I love tails for the coin toss. That's usually my favorite one to bet. But yeah, other than that, I don't have anything.
It's next week. We'll go over a bunch of Super Bowl props. I want to bet the national anthem every year. I always like betting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think we need the Ravens' biggest needs in the offseason?
As an outsider, I would say I don't know a ton of their free agents, like who's going to be gone, but I would think another legit number 1, number 2 receiver. Like Flowers is awesome, but you need someone to pair with him. Like Mike Evans is a free agent; he'll probably get tagged, but like go get someone. Like I like the idea of Beckham, but he was a dud. Like he had 35 catches. Like apparently he's good in the locker room and everyone loved him, but he wasn't very productive. If that's fine if he's like your 4th receiver, but they need.
Yeah, he's gone. He was a 1-year deal.
Yeah,
and Bateman's going into the last year of his rookie deal, unless they want to pick up the 5th-year option, which I can't imagine.
I doubt it. And he's fine to have if he's your 3rd, 4th receiver. Like he's not a bad player, 100%. But if you want to win the Super Bowl, you need like Flowers and like I don't know, Curtis Samuel's a free agent. Maybe you don't want someone that's like a small guy like Flowers, but go get another like
physical receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we talked.
Michael Pittman's out there. Like there'll be some good players.
The line's going to be an area of need because I think Zyler is in the last year of his deal, so we could tag him if we wanted to.
He's gone. Yeah.
And then you can't really. Morgan Moses was serviceable, but he's not the best right tackle in the world.
Right. Yeah, he's 400 years old too.
Former Redskin, great.
Yeah.
Racist.
Racist.
Ronnie Stanley is a turnstile at left tackle at this point. He drives me insane, but we can't get rid of him until next year. Marlon Humphrey's always hurt. We can't get rid of him till next year. So those 2 contracts are going to be eating up a lot of our salary cap. Really the biggest free agents we have on defense are Matabike and Queen. I think we have to do anything we can to sign Matabike. And if you need to let Queen walk, you let Queen walk because Roquan is really the heart and soul of the linebacking core, and I think we can pick up another younger guy to to play alongside him. But you don't get interior pressure on the D line like Matabike produces very much in the NFL. And I really think.
Sorry, Dustin.
You like franchise tag?
I like tag on Matabike. Queen, you can't dump that much money into both linebackers.
Yeah.
Nope.
Because he's gonna want Roquan's deal. He's gonna want that $20 million a year deal, and it's just not worth it.
Also, wasn't Queen, now correct me if I'm wrong, obviously I don't pay attention to them as much as you guys do. Wasn't Queen kind of like not great until they got Roquan? Like he was fine, but not like
he was terrible to start, and then he started improving a little bit,
better.
but he wasn't anything.
But then Roquan came and kind of changed everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm worried about the Skins. The Skins linebackers are terrible. They have Jamin Davis, who's kind of like an early Patrick Queen, who's like very raw and flashes, but like should not be your middle linebacker playing, 3 downs a game. But if he was playing outside next to Roquan Smith, he'd probably look awesome. So like I'm worried that I think if they don't tag Queen, someone will probably give Queen a bunch of money. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah. 100%.
Linebacker nowadays is like not a position people invest a ton in, and I feel like you can't do it to 2 linebackers. But
a Panther or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even be too terribly heartbroken if we just got Van Noy back and had put him next to him.
Yeah. Draft a kid in the 3rd round somewhere like.
Yeah. And we had last year we drafted Trenton Simpson in the 3rd or 4th round from Clemson, and he was supposed to be a first or second round pick, and he had some issues the combine, I think, and he dropped to us, and he played in week 18. He looked pretty good. So I think we'll probably give him a shot if we lose Queen. I'm assuming we're probably going to lose Queen, but I think Brian's right. I think offensive line is going to have to take a major step because Stanley is probably going to be gone in the next couple of years. Moses is old. He's going to be gone. Zeitler's at the end of his contract. It's really just Linderbaum who's the mainstay there.
Yeah, and Lex, I don't think we have to pay him for another 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So we'll ride that out, I'm sure. I guess for wide receivers, we got Beckham, Aguilar, and Treadwell. We said, who cares about all of them? We can go find someone better for them. Probably pretty much all of our running backs: Edwards, Dobbins, Gordon, and Cook.
All of them on. But we get Keaton Mitchell back.
Yeah, as long as he rehab. I mean, he was a spark plug, so hopefully his rehab goes well. I assume we still have Justice Hill for one more year.
Yeah, I think we do.
And then maybe. Yeah.
What do we do with Huntley? Can we? Do you think somebody's going to give him some money and give him a chance?
Probably. No, not a starter. I think somebody could pay him decent money to come be a backup more than we will.
Backups make good money. Like, you're a good backup. You're making like $5+ million a year, $8 million a year. Yeah.
I'm assuming Minshew's probably going to be gone from the Colts. I wouldn't be surprised if they went out and got him because he's a pretty similar type player than Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
That's a really good call.
Yeah.
Do we know what our cap situation's like? No, I know there's cap dancing, but are we over already or?
As of right now, we got 14 million with all the guys leaving. Obviously they can restructure a ton of guys and the cap room is completely manipulative. You can manipulate it. But as of right now, it looks like we have around 14 million going into the free agency.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, we can play some salary cap gymnastics with Lamar.
Yeah, you move a lot of stuff around.
Yeah,
kick the can down the road.
I mean, we're gonna have to at some point, probably with Lamar, but
yeah,
it's just gonna depend on who we have. And I think Lamar is fine doing all that stuff, especially if we say, "Hey, here's the receiver we're trying to go get."
Yeah,
I mean, all those I think Mahomes signed that massive deal like 3 years ago. I think they've reworked it like twice already. I feel like with those big deals, they're always changing stuff like every few years to try and make the money work.
Yeah.
Number will go up like it naturally does every single year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just really the moral of the story for this game was really disappointing end of the season. Just sucks to not do what got you there. And it's the opposite of the Lions. They got killed by what got them there. We got killed by not doing what got us there. And yeah,
Very good way to say it.
yeah, and we're going to be watching Chiefs Niners in the Super Bowl again. Well,
I
5
think
years
it'll be
ago,
a-
I think.
it'll be a good game, but yeah, it's not like sexy. Like it would have been cool to see the Lions,
Yeah.
Niners, like Niners Ravens would have been a cool rematch. Lions Raven, like it'll be a good game, but yeah, it's not that exciting.
Yeah.
You guys see Travis Kelce retiring if they win?
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. And one thing I was thinking about somehow that I saw this on Twitter, or someone was saying like, hey, maybe he'll walk away. Like, I'm sure he could because he's what mid late 30s. He's been playing for a while and he's going to make a gazillion dollars in TV or whatever he does when he retires. But also, if he and Jason both retire this year, like going to Canton together in 5 years would be awesome. Like, I could see that, especially if they win. Just you win 2 in a row. Propose to Taylor Swift, call it a day.
Sure.
Break Jerry Rice's record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he's got kind of everything lined up right now.
Yeah. I've seen some speculation, and maybe this is just Twitter idiots, but people thinking that Andy Reid could walk away if they win again because like his son who got in that car wreck and is in jail, like I think Andy Reid like raises his kid, and just thinking like maybe he just wants to be around more and he's not young, and winning his 3rd Super Bowl maybe calls it quits. But who knows? I mean, it's hard to walk away when you can probably still be good for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Away from Patrick Mahomes. You don't walk away from that. You
Yeah.
have a magic carpet and you can ride it for as long as you want. Yeah.
All right, I got some trivia.
All right, yeah. Let's get out of
do
the
I'm gonna do
depression era of this podcast.
we're gonna do AFC NFC Championship trivia this week, and then if we do another one this week or next week, we'll do some Super Bowl trivia. But which 2 teams have faced each other the most times in the AFC and the NFC Championship games, respectively? So think about that for a second. Pitchers and catchers, 14 days, boys.
Pitchers and catchers in 14 days.
I'll let that marinate for until the end. We'll go around with the answers at the end, but I'm throwing it out there to let it brew for a minute.
Yeah.
Orioles still need pitching.
Yeah, you guys think we'll make a big deal, or what do you think, Foy?
I think they'll do something. I feel like the closer and closer we get to spring training, it's more likely they just sign like a Michael Lorenzen or someone like that who's like good enough to be in the rotation, and so you don't have to rely on like Means to start 30 games a year. But I feel like every report I see is that the White Sox just want like an arm and a leg for Cease, and I think they'll get someone at some point, but I could see them maybe saying, hey, we'll get Lorenzen or like Hyjin Ryu or whatever the hell his name is to like get us through the year and maybe make a big move at the deadline. I don't know. I mean, I'd be surprised if they go into the season with just this staff. Like I would think they'll add someone, but who knows? I mean, I thought they'd make a move 40 days ago, and it's almost February. So I think Elias has shown he doesn't like, he's not going to make a deal just to do it, but these guys have been here forever. Some of these prospects, you got to flip them at some point.
Why do we keep making a big deal about these winter meetings? I feel like every year we make a big deal and nothing fucking happens.
Yeah, the last few years have been nothing. Like this year, it was just all talking about Ohtani, and then I think he signed like a week later. Like, yeah. I think winter meetings used to be a big deal.
I'm out on winter meetings.
Before like working remote was a big thing, because it was like one of the only times where everyone's in like the same spot. But now, like, it's 2024. You want to get a hold of a GM on the other side of the country, fucking text him. Like, you don't need to be in a conference room with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is disappointing. It also doesn't help that we don't ever do anything. So like, I think they signed Miguel Tejada at the winter meetings like 20 years ago.
Hey, he led the league in RBIs for us, I think.
Yeah.
A couple of years, I think.
Stud.
Brian, Brian, you losing your video over there?
I think we lose Brian once a podcast.
Yeah, it's tradition.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I don't know. There's got to be somebody to eat to. I mean, I know we get Means back, and we didn't have him all year last year, besides the last maybe month or whatever, and he was kind of on an innings count, or a pitch count. Someone's got to replace Gibby's innings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is DL Hall going to get some starting spots, or do we think he's bullpen?
I think
don't
he's in the
know.
bullpen. Maybe they've got Wells kind of go back and forth, but
Yeah, Wells is weird, man.
yeah, been really good for like back-to-back years as a starter, but just hit a wall like both years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure DL wants to start, and like ideally, if he could make it work as a starter, that'd be better. But I feel like he's just gonna be awesome at the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah. There he is. He's back.
Oh yeah, sorry, I could hear you guys. I just didn't. I had to go take a piss, and I don't think you wanted to hear me drain the main vein on audio.
Nice.
That's fine, buddy. I'm thinking about this trivia question. I think it's got to be Niners Packers NFC Championship game, right? Is that how many times have we seen the Niners and Packers play each other in the playoffs? It feels like 100.
I was gonna say
I was gonna
Niners
go-
Cowboys, like maybe a bunch back in the '80s, but I don't.
That's what I'm going to. Niners Cowboys, my call.
Niners Cowboys is correct.
Ooh,
Dustin almost. I'm not giving you a half a point there, but
Nah,
damn,
I don't.
damn close. Damn close there.
AFC, I would imagine the Patriots have to be involved. I'm thinking Patriots Colts or Patriots Steelers. I'll say Patriots Colts.
Steelers.
I'm gonna say Steelers Patriots, but I don't know that.
What was Brian's?
Steelers, Patriots.
It's Steelers Broncos.
Wow.
Steelers
No
Broncos.
Patriots?
Steelers Broncos have met a total of 8 times.
Damn, that must have
Actually,
been like a bunch
both
with
had-
Elway.
Both faced off 8 times.
Damn.
That's crazy.
So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not
that
Elway years.
Yeah. And the
Broncos. I guess
I'm blanking on his name. Bradshaw.
Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
old
I
TB.
think I contemplated the Vikings because I think they went to 4 consecutive NFC Championship games. Now this is like way back in Bud Grant days when he was the head coach.
Yeah.
With Warren
Is
Moon.
that Fran Tarkenton or Warren Moon? Yeah.
And then the Bills also were a guess for me as well, or at least in consideration, given they went to 4 Super Bowls consecutively.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
They lost
what do you got for us?
every Super Bowl. They lost to a NFC East team. No big deal.
What's
Not
your
that
you got a trivia question, Brian?
So I couldn't find anything really good, so I deferred to Brooks on this one.
Okay.
No, we'll do the Super Bowl trivia next week or later this week, depending on. I mean, I feel like we could do a multiple podcasts probably on the lead up for the Super Bowl. Obviously, there's always stories going on, but
Yeah.
Dustin, looks like you got some golf you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we can go over pretty quickly. Golf season's ramping up.
golf?
They're playing at Pebble Beach this weekend. It's supposed to be a fucking monsoon in Southern California this weekend. I think on Sunday they're calling for 40-mile-an-hour winds. It's not supposed to be higher than 50 all week. So if you want to bet on this golf tournament, you go ahead. But I am not going to be because I have no idea who can play in monsoons. It looks like they're getting as close as we've been to the PGA and Live deal. There's nothing concrete, but there's been a lot of talk among golf Twitter and golf podcasting that it looks like they're going to be getting it done pretty quickly. Tyrrell Hatton, one of the best golfers in the world, reportedly going to Live. Don't think he would have done it if he didn't see a future back on the PGA Tour. It keeps going. Same thing with Rahm. I don't think he would have done it either.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got 2 more weeks and then we get to see Tiger at Riviera.
Didn't Hovland shoot down the rumor that he was going to Live? Because wasn't that a thing for a while?
Hovland has been very vocal about how he thinks the PGA Tour brass are pretty much morons. But yeah, he's been clear that he does not want to go and he wants to stay on the PGA Tour. But guess what? Rahm was the same way, and they offered him, $400 or $500 million. I can't blame him. It sucks for fans because I want to see Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton play every week, and I don't really
Right.
watch this. Nobody does really because they don't
Yeah.
have a stable.
I don't
TV
care about the
network or
team
product.
aspect, like any of that crap.
Yeah.
Play a fucking full round of golf or a full 4 rounds of golf. I don't give a fuck.
Wear some pants. Be professional.
Yeah, you get to play
Turn
loud
the music off.
fucking
Don't have
Yeah,
fun.
Get
Yeah.
off my lawn.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got for golf, really.
What-
I
what
will try
are
to
they
give out
trying
a
to do?
golf prop every week during the playoffs or during the golf season. But this week, really, like I said, it's supposed to be a monsoon of Pebble. Whoever wins is just going to be the guy who gets the luckiest, I think.
You seem more knowledgeable on the golf stuff than any of us. What are the merger? Like, what is the big sticking point, or is there any talk on these podcasts of what the hell is holding this shit
It's
up?
the biggest thing is how are they going to compensate the guys who stayed versus the guys who went. And that's I don't know how they're going to do it. It's going to be some sort of equity in the PGA Tour or some sort of I don't know if it's going to be the profits of that the PGA Tour makes. A certain percentage of them are going to go to the players, but that's the biggest holdup is that basically.
Guys
how are
are
they going to
pissed.
compensate? Yeah, why wouldn't they be?
They're
Why would Rory not be pissed that he's turned down $750 million and
Wait.
stayed, and now Rahm, who got $500 million, is going to be able to come back and play next year? Like, I would be pissed too. I can't answer that.
Because Monahan was giving him apparently all kind of promises like, hey, if you stay, you're going to be compensated for your loyalty, and so far it's been bullshit. So I mean, I would be pissed. I mean, a guy like what's his name, that young guy, what am I blanking on his name, guy from Wake Forest, skinny guy.
The amateur who just won Dunlap.
No. He had back surgery last year.
Zalatoris.
Zalatoris. Like Zalatoris turned down a bunch of money to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, the kid has barely made any money on the tour so far, and I would be pissed. I mean,
Yeah.
And Christ, I mean, if this back surgery doesn't go well, who knows what the rest of his career is like,
Well,
I mean,
he was T13 last week, so he's starting to get back into form. We're happy about that. Also, there
Aren't
looks
they
like
trying
there's
to
a little.
Go ahead.
Anthony Kim.
I was
Anthony
just
Kim
gonna
is-
say that. Aren't they bringing back Anthony Kim?
So
They're trying to, but he's got that insurance payout they need to like figure out.
yeah, so he had a $12 million insurance policy on his health. Basically, he has void that money, which he has then paid. It looks like either that contract is coming to an end, or if he signs with Liv, they'll just pay it off for him. But he hasn't played professional golf in 12 years. He's 38 years old. He was a good player. He was never a great player. He kind of got thrown into the spotlight because he was Nike, and Tiger kind of gave him like a good,
He was popular.
pat on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he's had some personal issues. If there's ever a documentary and he does come back and he plays well, it's going to be an amazing documentary because there's a lot of people don't know a lot of stuff about that guy. But yeah, it would be awesome to see him come back. But how much can you really expect out of a guy who hasn't played 12 years? You know what I mean?
Right.
yeah, I'd love to, I guess, between now and the next podcast, do some research to see when the new what's it called, the Netflix special, when
Full swing. Yep.
yeah,
Full swing.
see
Yeah.
see if we can get if they've released a date when that's coming out. I'd love to see all the reactions in the locker room.
Yeah.
When Netflix put something out on Twitter when the PGA Tour gave in to Liv and basically combined the two forces. Netflix put out something on Twitter that basically said, "You better bet your ass the cameras were rolling when the tour players found out."
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll
I'm
be
pumped
awesome.
to see that, but yeah, hopefully they can get a deal done and we can get back to some sort of normalcy in golf for fans, because as much as I don't blame any single person who went to Live and took the money, it fucking sucks for golf fans because we don't get to see the best players play against each other week in and week out, and we used to, and it's really a bummer. And I hope as soon as we can make it happen, I don't care how much the PGA Tour has to pay Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods, just get it done. Come on, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
can't even find the freaking channels that they play on. I mean, they play on like the WB or something bullshit channel that.
Yeah, the channel I used to watch Pokemon on when I was little.
Yeah, like Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So figure the shit out. It's for the best of golf, for golf in general. They just need to put their egos aside and just let them go.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think that's it for this week.
right.
Foy, thanks for
man.
jumping on, man. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
Foy.
it, dude.
No problem. Let me know if you make the call to the pen in the future. I'll be available.
We'll definitely be having Foy and some other of our clown friends on as well to talk some sports with us. So whenever you're available, let us know. So all right, that'll do it for this episode, and
we'll see you next week, same time, same place.